There are drone protests going on all this month all over the country. This is the National No Drones Month, April.
People have come from all across this country, from all across the world, to fight this criminal, illegal, murderous, brutal drone program used by the United States government simply to dominate the countries of the world.
Civil rights are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Our civil rights are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
We need to stand in solidarity with the people of the Middle East, of Africa, South Asia, and throughout the world against drone warfare.
They say drone war, we say no more. They say drone war, we say
No more!
So we all know that when the U.S. is trying to sell an unpopular war to the American public, it needs to first dehumanize the people targeted. But what are the 98% of women and children murdered by drones in the past few years guilty of? Well, some would say the women are oppressed, the children growing up in countries lacking democracy and freedom. But how does drone bombing free anybody? The only thing the U.S. has brought to places like Yemen, Pakistan, Africa, Afghanistan, and Iraq is terrorism.
Over 5,000 people have been killed by drone strikes in the last few years, including untold numbers of women and children. The claims of the U.S. government that drone strikes are precisely targeted and result in no civilian death have been proven completely false. A recent joint study by New York University and Stanford University concluded that only 2% of those murdered by drones in Pakistan were high-profile targets.
I'm here to say no to the drones because it is a way of bringing our tax dollars to build these indiscriminately horrifying, basically, weapons of mass destruction that we have. I'm here to say no to that and bring our tax dollars where it belongs, to education, to our community, and to our people.
Tariq Aziz was only home for 2 or 3 days, and he was driving in a car on a highway, 16 years old, with his 12-year-old cousin, and a U.S. drone missile hit him.
We have more in common with the victims of drone warfare than we do with those who make mega profits from this murderous technology. That's why we will make this dramatic action. We want to go to the very doorstep of General Atomics and tell them, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Signature strikes are ones where they target people who look like terrorists. It could be a number of men aged 20 to 40. It could be men who are armed in a region where most men are armed.
Double tapping is when you send a drone and it kills a bunch of people in a village, and then you wait until the first responders arrive to help the wounded and pick up the dead. And then you hit them with a bigger bomb.
The Obama administration and previous administration should be tried in a people's tribunal for crimes against humanity.
And now is the time for all of us to come together to show a diverse and collected front and really stand up against this overreaching power that the United States has bestowed upon the rest of the world.
What we did, what people in the grassroots did, what our mobilization did, had a palpable impact on the policymakers and on the war makers. And so I think there's kind of a renewed confidence that our activity, coordinated between people within countries and between people from different countries, can have a really, really big impact.
Why are you against the war?
Because it's all a bunch of lies. I lived there for 20 years. I saw what was happening. It wasn't the government. It wasn't the president that started all the problems. It was the other people. And they've just totally turned it all around.
I feel like I see this over and over just in my short lifetime. I'm sick of these imperialists that run our country, the power elite, the neocons, that just want to profit off of other people's suffering. And so I'm ready for it to change.
Look at history. That's part of history. You want to take over a country, you bomb it. You know, you have to weaken it. And that's one of the excuses. We lived there for almost 10 years. We didn't pay for school. We didn't pay for medical. Poor people there that go and get government assistance for free. You don't have to ask questions. Why isn't people showing that? 10 years, we didn't lock our front door.
The government cares more about dropping bombs on civilians halfway around the world than it does about working people here at home who don't have access to healthcare, education, or the right to a job. Right now, because of the disparity between the rich and the poor, which is the rest of us, the reactionaries think they can get away with anything, launching another unpopular war based on lies, cutting food stamps, taking away women's rights, imprisoning an entire generation of Black and Latino people, attacking immigrants, and so much more.
Cuando se habla de humanidad, nunca se habla de nuestra gente que se le arranca a las familias para regresar a sus países, donde gracias a la política económica de este país existe guerra, drogas, violencia, pobreza. Entonces, para nuestra gente es importante estar aquí hoy contra la guerra porque no nos beneficia. No nos beneficia el asesinato de gente inocente por el mundo, porque a este gobierno no le importa a nuestra gente.
Their objective is to take out any leader or any country in the Arab world, in the Middle East, that does not bow down to Wall Street, that does not bow down to the Pentagon, and they target those countries for destruction. And when they have an objective, they fix their intelligence around that objective, and they make up stories, they create a narrative to justify what they're going to do. Because if they were honest about why they wanted to invade Syria, if they said, we got some billionaire oil investors and defense contractors and military-industrial complex CEOs who want to see Syria fall, and who want to use billions of dollars of your tax money and send your sons and daughters to go die, the people would say no. So they have to create a lie and say it's for humanitarian intervention. Do we believe that, brothers and sisters? Do we believe that the people who say they want humanitarian intervention, the same people who just killed 1 million Iraqis in Iraq, do we believe that? No! Do we believe that they care about the use of chemical weapons when women in Fallujah cannot even have children today because the U.S. used so many chemical weapons on Fallujah? Do we believe their lies? No! That's what we're here to say. Hands off Syria.
We know the biggest enemy is the USA. We know they scheme and manipulate and stepping away, but they not messing with Syria today. They better get their hands off of Syria. They better get their hands off of Syria. They better get their hands off of Syria. Yeah, we need to put things in historical context. Otherwise, all we talking is nonsense. First of all, what's democracy? Does it take precedence over sovereignty? Been problems in Syria for quite a long time. Yes, they are very real, and yes, you'll find some very real, genuine discontent. But it's not the overwhelming environment and these very real shortcomings of the state. Don't make it like Egypt, a client state. Wanna knock Syria en route to Iran and sever the anti-imperial bond. People die in war, an unfortunate fact. It's not a one-sided string of attacks. Rebels killing Christians, Alawis, and NATO's on the ground, there's no need to pretend.